Welcome, welcome. Today we are looking at rearranging formulas. Okay, so we are still solving, notice these are both equations. We are still solving equations. We're just solving equations that have a lot more variables in them than normal. Okay, so far everything's only had one variable. One x, one y, one w, etc. We have more. However, the process is the same. We're just isolating the variable. So if we look, it says solve the formula for the indicated variable. A equals 1/2 BH. Awesome. Now I want to reread this where I am reading all of the operations that are happening. So A equals, easy enough, 1/2 times B times H. Okay, so I've got quite a bit of multiplication going on here. So what is it saying? First, let's look at what are we solving for. So it wants us to solve for B. So it's all about isolating this B. So if I'm isolating for B, if I want to, what am I moving? Well, I need to get rid of this 1/2 and I need to get rid of this H. A couple different ways. So 1/2 times B, so I could divide by 1/2, or I could multiply by the reciprocal. And I'm going to go ahead and multiply by 2 to cancel that out. Multiply by 2 over here. So now I have 2A equals B times H. All right, so we got rid of one term, well, one item, I guess. Let's go ahead and get rid of another. So we have B times H, so inverse operations tells us we are going to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by H, because again, it's all about isolating this B. So divide both sides by H. So B equals 2A divided by H. That's it. So you're isolating your variable, and yes, we're starting off with baby formulas so far. So we're going to get into some more, with some more going on. But essentially, just look back and ask yourself, what operations are we using so that we know, well, which the inverse operation that we need to use. All right, so the next one, D divided by R equals T. Distance divided by the rate equals time. So we are going to solve for R. So again, this is not D over R, this is D divided by R. Now, if I want to isolate R, normally we're thinking, well, we got to get rid of the D, right? Yeah, but R is in the denominator, and I don't want my variable in the denominator. So I'm actually going to move R first, because since it's divided by R, if I multiply by R, it'll cancel that out, and it now moves it to the numerator on my right side. So I now have D is equal to T times R. So again, isolating R, so since it's T times R, we're going to divide both sides by T. So the rate equals distance divided by time. So we're just undoing operations. Just imagine these are numbers that you're moving around like before. Okay, it's all about isolating one variable. We just happen to have a couple others to work around as well. Now, what about modeling with formulas? So modeling is just like showing. So let's model, let's show what this is talking about. It says, write a formula for the side length of a regular hexagon in terms of its perimeter. Okay, so we're going to write a formula for the side length of a regular hexagon in terms of its perimeter. So we're talking about side length of a regular hexagon in terms of its perimeter? Well, what's a hexagon? Well, let's see how well I can draw this. Hexagon meaning 6 sides. I don't know why I try. I think it gets worse every time I do it the second time. Okay, so here's my regular hexagon. Okay, now keyword here I want to review. Regular. Because a hexagon just means a 6-sided figure, any 6-sided closed figure. Well, a regular hexagon is special. Regular means that all of the sides, side 1, side 2, side 3, side 4, side 5, side 6, are all the same. We denote this by tick marks. So if each side has the same tick mark, that means, hey, those are equal. So it's a regular hexagon. So a perfect hexagon, all my sides are the same. Again, not necessarily in my drawing, but it's supposed to be. So if we're finding the perimeter of a 6-sided figure, well, write a formula for the side length of a regular hexagon. How do we find the perimeter? Add up all the sides. Awesome. Can we simplify this? For sure. How many s's is this term? 1s plus 1s plus 1s plus 1s plus 1s plus 1s. So the perimeter is equal to, oops. Sorry, my computer's lagging. 6 s's, or 6 sides. Does that make sense? So you're just using something that you know, so it could be a triangle, hexagon, heptagon, pentagon. And it's just asking you to write a formula for it. So when in doubt, draw it out so you can kind of visualize what you're talking about. All right, so next it says solve each literal equation for an indicated variable. A literal equation is just an equation with 2 or more variables. So again, when we were working with our formulas earlier, we were already doing this. So we're given z times the quantity x minus y equals w. It says where z equals 0, I'll explain why they're giving us that information and what are we solving for. We're solving for y. So normally, when you look at this equation and you go to solve, I'm assuming you would look at it and say, oh, I need to distribute this z. Sure. And you can. But when I look at it, I'm thinking, and I like to use my highlighter with these, I want to isolate y, which means I want to get y by itself. So if I distributed my z, I would then have a minus zy. I would be giving more stuff with my y. So I don't want to do that. I'm looking at this going, well, I want to go ahead and say, first, what are our operations? Z what? Z times the quantity x minus y. So I want to go ahead and just get rid of that z, because again, if we distribute it, we'll have more stuff attached to the y. That's not what we want. So I'm going to undo the multiplication and divide both sides by z. So I get x minus y equals w divided by z. All right, we're one step closer to getting y by itself. Now we need to move this x. All right. So what is the opposite of a positive x? We're moving the whole entire term. So what's the opposite of a positive x? A negative x. So I'm going to subtract it from both sides. So I have negative y equals w divided by z. And these are not like terms, so I just put minus x off to the side. All right. Now again, isolate that y. You are not done. This does not say y equals. It says negative y equals. So how do we get rid of this negative. Well, what is this? Negative what? Negative 1y. So I just need to get rid of the negative 1 because, again, I want y by itself. So negative 1 times y. So since we're multiplying, we're going to divide by negative 1. Now, since we are dividing, you must do it. Multiplication and division has to get done to every term. So I'm dividing w divided by z by a negative 1 and negative x by a negative 1. So we're left with y equals, so w divided by z divided by a negative 1. Okay. Well, if I divide anything by a positive by a negative, what's going to happen? It's going to become a negative w divided by z. And then negative x divided by negative 1 becomes positive x. It looks funky. Just take it one step at a time, just because there's a lot of variables, sure. But again, just take it one step at a time and figure out what is going to help me achieve my goal of getting y by itself. If you want, I would go ahead and pause the video and try and solving this one on your own, and then go ahead and restart when you're ready. So A equals 2 times the quantity L plus W, and we're solving for W. So I'm trying to isolate W. So again, I would look at this and normally I'd be like, ooh, I want to go ahead and distribute my 2, but I don't, because I don't want to get 2 times W. No, I don't want to do that. I want to get rid of the 2 because I'm trying to get W by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and start with that. So since it's 2 times the quantity, I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 2 so I can quickly cancel out that 2. So A divided by 2 equals L plus W. All right. We're almost there. We already got rid of the 2. Now we just need to get rid of the L. So L plus W. So what is the opposite of a positive L? A negative L. So that cancels that out. So I'm going to subtract L from this side. So A divided by 2 minus L. Can I subtract those? Are they like terms? Nope. So we just go ahead and write them. A divided by 2 minus L equals W. Looky there. W is by itself. There was only 2 steps to solving that. Yes, I know, a bunch of other variables, but that's okay. Just keep highlighting what you're trying to get by itself. Keep that goal in mind. Who are we isolating? Okay? All right, so go ahead and try some on your own. Let me know if you have any issues. Have a great day.